Hey guys, welcome to Power Within with me, Amy, your heart whisperer therapist. I'm a good wife.
Vicky, I'm a queen of rapid hypnosis.
Together with the Eastwoods, and we're going to be covering therapy,
Hypnotherapy,
couples relationship therapy,
hypnosis, and all the other shit in between.
If it's current, if it's relevant,
we'll be covering it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Power Within. Today we're going to talk about the relevance of time and how time matters.
Yeah, something in all of our lives, we always think we've not got enough or we take it for granted. And today, sharing some of our experiences will take you out of the myth of not having enough time. Because if you treat it like a currency or treat it like it's payday and that's how much you're spending on something for the month, you will probably realise that you've got a bit more spare going.
Yeah, you probably actually spend it more wisely if you realise it was a currency, I think.
Yeah, and if you remember even a while back, I said, one of my clients, I asked her, and we shared it and I come across about milk, but I asked her to treat a date like an interview and ask her what it was going to cost her. And that was about core values. But I want us to start practicing what we preach with this as well, with our time, because we probably give it sometimes to the wrong people, to the wrong thing, the wrong project. And it's all right to say no. I don't actually feel like doing that.
Yeah, that's your boundaries, and that's where people need to have a little bit more boundaries about saying no. And I think it's something that we're not very good at, but we are getting better.
I get called out in my supervision all the time because I always think, it's just my time. I don't mind giving that. And she pulls it back. And she actually said it the other day. She says, well, okay, you give your client an extra 10 minutes. She says, that means your kids can't play in the garden for 10 minutes longer or dinner wait for 10 minutes because you're busy doing something else. And I guess in that moment, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So that's fine. But I like the idea of this topic today because one of the things I've often said to my sister probably a dozen times is, imagine if you were in a car crash. I don't even know if I've shared it on this before. And your whole life flashes before you. And you were going to wish, when people have like a bucket list or a to-do list, and you were only going to wish you could relive that life again and do it all over again. What would you do differently if you were to get out of that car and realise that time was as precious as it is right now?
Yeah, what things you would actually change. But sometimes it's that matter of later and the myth of later, because everyone says, oh, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. And I think that's I can never say it.
Procrastination.
Yeah, that's the one. I could never say that word, so I don't really use it that often. But it is that thing where we'll always do something later. I'm probably terrible for that. I'll do something later.
In that moment, we assume later's coming or tomorrow's going to happen, and I've said it quite often lately. For anyone that knows us, we like to travel because the only time guaranteed is now. And I love how present we are with the boys. And I always joke and say when we're old, we're going to be cold and hungry and poor because we spend too much now. But the only currency when we go back to time, it's now, isn't it? And the only thing we can guarantee with the kids is our health right now.
That's because most people always worry about, I've said this before, about the past. So when people live in that past moment, the past is even just as simple as yesterday. So stop worrying about yesterday, because that yesterday is going to bring forward into today, and that'll spoil today. And then you'll also wake up in that same mood tomorrow, and it'll spoil tomorrow. But if you can think, well, something that happened yesterday, I'm not going to let that come into today, and enjoy that present moment of where you are right now, even if you're at work and it's crappy. But the people around you will just enjoy that time with people.
Yeah, and I actually caught myself doing that yesterday because my mood at work was foul on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't there, so you didn't feel it. But my mood was foul. I think we're overdue a little break. And
it's been 4 weeks.
No, but I think I think it almost resets me, reminds me what's important. And we've said it before, we're probably the most productive when we do rest. Wednesday it felt like a bit of a energy of that because my patience was gone.
But again, it started off with the evening before, you're stretched out, you hurt your knee, you've got a bad knee, you've had an operation on it, that's clicked, and then the next morning if you woke up, it's really hurting. So you started off in a grump, and then you've gone to work and the little things have not been done. Then someone turns in late, which is always late. And it just flowed from there, really. Then I was late.
But about time, when we talk about time, when we talk about time management, we're bad.
I'm bad.
You're awful, and that's rubbed off, so we're bad. But in terms of the gift, and it is a gift, and I don't want this to sound cheesy today, of our life's all precious and live it because you get one.
But it is.
And that's how we live. Life is precious, and I only have to catch a glimpse of some news that someone's passed away, or you look at the age and they're poorly and you go, that could be any one of us right now. Tomorrow could be flipped like that. And so I do want to treat our time like a currency and say, what do we want to spend it on? Because I know I'm probably the culprit for making us busy.
Yeah. But also, like, even I don't mind us being busy, and I don't mind us just doing things randomly, which is good when we have got a day off. That's the beauty of you sort of juggling the kids, thinking that's what we'll do, and it's good. It's in a good balance, and that's what you've got to take from things is having that balance with each other, with the kids, with work, with rest. Because again, rest is just as important as being busy, which you don't really take on board that much. Rest is really important. If we've got a spare hour, how can we fill this hour? And it's normally doing something by being busy.
Yeah, and I don't know where that comes from. You know, we shared it the other week and we had banter on here, and this is sometimes our therapy. I don't know where that comes from with me, because you feel that pressure like you can't rest. And I want to get better at that. To say, actually, I don't want to do that today. That doesn't sit with how I want to spend my day. I don't know the last time we said that to anyone and said, that doesn't really fit around us, because we just juggle and make sure it happens. Like most of you, and a lot of you will work way harder than we do nowadays and more hours and stuff. But I really take value that we do every school run and like drop off and pick up. Like, we've not had to sacrifice that part, and that's felt like a blessing. Like, even today, taking the dog and sitting in the park, and life felt like it paused for 10 minutes. Then 10 minutes goes, and then we're busy again. But it's catching ourselves in that sort of time.
Including with time is health as well, because I think the other biggest value thing is health, and a lot of people take that for granted. And we take things for granted every day. We take each other for granted sometimes. We take the kids for granted, how healthy they are. There's other people out there what's going through like trauma with the children, where we are very blessed. And I think I get comfort with that every night, that we are very blessed, because things can take a turn at any particular point. So that's the reason why, again, time is important. And even down to the quality.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
Quantity as well. It is about having that quality time with each other.
Yeah, because if you, okay, we'll see each other every day and we'll spend time and we date and so on. But I like the idea of quality over quantity, because even going back to one of our friends the other day, and they've got a family member that live with them. And so they can see them at the drop of a hat, they can have a coffee every single day. And he was busy, say last weekend, he was busy and he should have been doing something else. And he had this epiphany that he actually wanted to drive to the other side of England to spend time with his said family member. And although he's got the freedom to see her every single day, he'll go there. It will be a really quick coffee because life's busy. the phone's ringing. He's not really present in that coffee anyway. So it's like, yes, it's 10 minutes. Yes, he's done his duty. Last weekend, it wasn't a duty. It wasn't his 10 minutes. He spent the evening, he travelled, and he said it was so nice to just be present and have that time with her. And it caught me thinking, even with this episode coming on, that I thought, if we only know that that's the last time we're going to do that, we would treasure it, wouldn't we? So it's, for me, it was quite nice to hear that he had sacrificed an evening out that he didn't necessarily need, although it was booked, to say to his friends, I'm not coming. That's not where I want to spend my Friday night.
Yeah, and that's sometimes with the difference of need and want. And that's it with money as well. Do you need that, or do you want it? And it's sometimes people want it because they want the chase. And I think sometimes then, because you're wanting the chase, it takes up most of your time with your family. And I think people that do build businesses, and again, we've been fortunate building the business, and then we had Evan, and then obviously things just rolled into one. But it's sometimes the people spend more time trying to earn that money when then it's sacrificing the time with the family as well. And again, it's not a bad thing. You know, we do know a lot of people what's actually done that, and it, like I say, it's not a bad thing, because then it gives the children the upbringing what they want.
But are they present?
But they still miss the time of them growing up and the little birthday parties they might have missed.
Yeah, because I had again, we'll go back to recovery, because that is something that I'm passionate about. In one of my sessions with a client a couple of years ago now, people often think when there's addiction, there's trauma. And it's not always necessarily so black and white. And this guy in general, he said, I've had no trauma. He said, I've got no reason why I should be a heroin addict. And so then we start talking about some of his upbringing. And his dad wasn't present anyway. His dad had left. And his mum, he talked about her like she was a warrior. You know, she provided. She was really high up in the industry that she was working to provide. And so I asked him a little bit about who was home when you came back from school. And it was his sister. And he said he remembered jumping off the stairs and breaking his wrist because his sister let him swing and do the stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. And he didn't badmouth his mum in the slightest. He didn't see that there was a gap in his childhood. But she wasn't present. She was providing. They had the great home. They had the safety and the security of finance. But she was never home. And I guess at the time she was doing the thing that she thought she needed to the most. Where, for saying that out loud now, when my dad left and we were a family of 5 kids, money wasn't really around. But my mum was home every time I come back from school. She was like the school cook, because we would always have a hot meal on the table and a pudding as standard. Even if we didn't have great clothes or luxuries or holidays, them things were important, but they just wasn't available. She was always home. I can't remember a time I come home from school and she wouldn't have been there cooking dinner.
Yeah. And that's it. It is good that your mum was present. And I think that's when, although she couldn't go to work because she had 5 kids, some people would frown upon that. You know what I mean? My mum couldn't work because obviously she had me, and she was a single parent. But again, that time what we spent together was probably better than me being dropped off or picked up. But again, it depends on the quality of life as well, because we didn't really have much. But then I had the time, where some families have to work to provide for the house and the bills, and do miss out on the time with the children. But sometimes it's their safety as well, because we know somebody who actually loves going to work to get away from the kids. So it can work in different mysterious ways, unfortunately. And again, reclaiming our time. Well, how do we do that?
I guess when you see it as a currency, we don't do this, but some people would have like an expensive form or whatever else. And even social media now, and your phone will be able to give you that. You can look and say, how long today have I been on my phone? My niece checked mine the other day. She realises Facebook's my biggest social media. I don't really go on anything else. But she was able to tell me in a week how much I'd accessed it. And it's probably nowhere near as much as other people. But could I be doing something more productive with that time? Or could I just have a little bit of calm without any screen time? Absolutely.
Oh, I love no screen time. I love nothing but just sometimes just do nothing. Sit outside with a cup of tea. Just, I don't know, weird. Be grounded with nature and stuff like that. That's my nice calming thing. I'm not really one to just keep going on my phone. Social media and stuff is not something what I'm big on.
Yeah, and we've never.
And I think the reason why we do this is to put out for people to understand hypnotherapy and therapy, although we don't really talk about that much. But we are going to stop filming a lot of the rapid inductions. It's just and again, it goes back to time. We need to probably be a bit more productive with our time and start putting this stuff out, but we don't really.
But it's hard, isn't it? Because to sit here today, we've had to get the kids picked up for football, and that's our sacrifice because this is still important to us. So some people will go, "What are you doing it for?" Or is it a waste because we've not got huge followings? But listen, some of the people that we're connecting with because of this podcast, and some of the therapy we're doing only because of this podcast, I think reminds us that we're doing exactly what we want to do with this.
Yeah.
Would we like more time? Absolutely. Would we like it to flow a little bit easier in our schedule? Yes. Do we have to get better at that? Yeah, but I guess we have to say no to a few other things that we struggle with saying no to.
Okay. And again, setting boundaries. That's you're reclaiming your time back is setting boundaries. But
yeah,
sometimes we have different aspects of boundaries. And
I struggle.
That's okay.
I think literally yesterday in my supervision, she said to me, something you've struggled with for the last 3 years. I said, I know. And again, I touched on this when we did the boundaries one. I think for me, family members really manipulated my boundaries where it was so hard to then set them. But then over the years, when you break it down, when I go back to thinking about even my dad, my boundaries was very clear with him. That was easy. And yet we've got people, even people at work, that will push them and push them. And we yet struggle to say, you're taking the piss.
But then what they do, they take the piss. And then we get angry about it. And then we look like the bad guys. Because we've set them boundaries in place, but it's like, well, what's been your problem? You let me do that last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, people need to be probably more time efficient at work. Like sometimes when we go in work and we'll like the other staff might not see the smaller details what we see. Like I walked in the other day, we had boxes of glasses delivered on the Monday. I wasn't in Monday, Tuesday. Popped in there Wednesday, and the glasses are still on the floor, waiting to be moved. So if any of you guys listening,
move the freaking glasses.
Just pick them up. It took me 3 minutes to move them, sort of space for them. But no, people were just stepping over them. Fuming. But again, I went in there and that was my time to just organise a few bits.
Yeah, and I guess there's no right or wrong about this. This is just a little bit of a light-hearted, meaningful importance of life. Like there's hearing people pass away recently, you just go, life is precious. and I can't wait to get away with you and the kids. And I go back to the most important things when we are away, and it's being present, having breakfast together, sat there with no phones and no work and no technology, and I almost feel like nothing else matters in that moment.
And then that's when you recharge, I think. And then when you do come back, you do probably be a bit more productive with your time. And so, yeah, we'll look forward to going away next week and Amy recharging her batteries.
Honestly, I think people thought I had a personality transplant the other day, and I hadn't. I suppose I just think, I don't know what I think. My patience was very low. Maybe I was tired, and as simple things as it was, like I was rushing. I didn't wash my hair. I went to work. It was hot. I felt like crap with a bad knee. And I suppose it's just them little things. Like when I've said before, me going and tanning and getting my nails done, that's me feeling like I'm taking care of my well-being. So we're no different, because for some, I sit and think about people that I spend 5 hours on a computer. I would see that as wasted time, but that's not for me to judge. For them, that's their 5 hours. They're in their zone. They're doing the thing that they love. That probably recharges. I don't know, because I don't sit and play these games.
But that's their downtime, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is not judging other people what they do with their time. And I think we're all guilty of it. We always say, well, why are they like staying in bed till 11 o'clock? Why is, they're on a computer all day? Why do they come home from work and just sit and doss on the sofa? But again, it's their time, and that's what they want to do with it. And that's when people need to not judge. Everyone's different. Like, you want to go and like tan, get your nails done, have like a you day, which is nice. I mean, sometimes I might just want to relax, or I don't know, do something else. But that's your time, and then that's my time. So we have to also like respect each other's time. That's the other thing. That's what we think. But
yeah, I always I need to get better at reclaiming. I can't even just say my time, our time. What is important? I mean, because we fill it up. I think I don't know why that's even a thing, but we are allowed to sit in our living room and do nothing.
5-minute nap. I love a 5-minute nap. Very rare we get one, but it is sometimes, like I said, rest is just as important as rushing around and getting things done. Things do need to be done, and there's not always tomorrow. That's the key. But it's as always, you can rest, maybe do it later, but then that is the myth of later again, isn't it?
Yeah, and like some of the stuff that we work through with people is about prioritising the time, prioritising you. When I've said before about that priority ladder, if you're not on the top of that ladder, how can you be at your best? And the reality is, this is your life. How you spend it should be how you want to spend it. Because given that moment when you're at your final destination, you're in that car, you're poorly, you're lying in hospital, what would be coming through your mind? What would you have wanted to do? And now you don't have time. You're out of currency. You can't do it. And if it's in your reach, do it.
There's that film actually, Time.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake.
And it's their currency, yeah.
And they have like, they're going to work, and they actually have to scan the time on the wrist.
Yeah, and he's in the casino and he's scanning. And I think he gives his mum some more time. People are robbing each other of the time. And actually, yeah, thinking about it, it's a class film.
It is good.
But they treat it like a currency. They're buying a new car, they scan their watch, they lose 2 years of their life. And I think if people saw it like that, and I'm not saying people don't, some of our clients definitely don't, but if you saw your time as a currency, you would probably value it a little bit differently.
Absolutely. But guys, thank you for listening. I know we've waffled on quite a bit.
Took up your time.
Hopefully it's good time. But yeah, just for the futures, like stay present, stay focused, and remember your time is your power.
Be safe.
Thank you.